Hello and welcome back to Gaffy's Grinds. This is video 4 in our series on quantitative chemistry for Leaving Cert Chemistry. This is the mole equation video part 2. In our previous lesson, we looked at the mole equation and we learned how to work out the number of moles of a substance when you're told about the mass that you have. Now in this video, we'll be just making it a little bit more complicated by switching around a formula, starting with different, so basically trying to find the mass when you're given the number of moles. So it's pretty much the same thing. We're still going to use the DESQ method, and there's not going to be much of me talking in this. I'm just going to do a couple of examples, and then you guys are going to have some practice on today's stuff, and then I'm going to give you a couple of question sets that kind of run over all the skills and the calculation examples that we've done so far. Okay, so let's jump straight into an example. Say we have the problem, what is the mass of 3 moles of H2O, or water? Okay. I'm going to highlight the important thing in this question. It says, what is the mass? So this time, that's the unknown, the mass. So mass is unknown. M is unknown here. M equals question mark. What else do I know? I know I've got 3 moles. So moles are equal to 3. So in all my previous examples in the last video, moles was always the question mark. I wanted to find the number of moles. This time I have the number of moles, but I don't have the mass. And I know that the substance I'm talking about is water, and it's got a formula H2O. So from there, I can work out that the M, or the formula mass, is 1 plus 1, that's the 2 hydrogens, plus the mass of oxygen is 16, so the total is 18. So MR is 18. So like I showed you before, this is the beauty of the DESQ method is it works no matter what problem you have. DESQ. So as you see, I've been doing this for years and years, and I still do this down the side when I'm doing my calculations. So if I've been doing it for years and years, you've only been doing it for one video, you should definitely still be doing this. Okay, so D, data. D stands for data. So what data do I know? Well, I need to know that my mass equals question mark. Don't know that one. I need to know my moles are equal to 3. And I need to know that my MR is equal to 18. Again, all that information is in the question. The next line, E, stands for equation. So what is the equation for that links moles, mass, and MR? Okay, so I want to speak your answer to the screen on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hoping that you were able to see without looking back that moles, the number of moles, equals mass divided by the formula mass, MR. Okay, so like I said, we learn one method of the equation. We just need to learn the equation in one way, and then we need to use that to work it out whatever way that the question is worded. Okay, next line, S stands for substitute. So here what I'm going to do is substitute any numbers that I know instead of the word. So for example, I know that my moles is equal to 3. So I'm going to put 3 in instead of moles. I know that my MR is equal to 18. So I'm going to put 18 instead of MR. Mass is going to stay the same. It's going to stay as a word because I don't have a number for it yet. So what that gives me is that 3 equals mass divided by 18. Now, I want to find mass. Mass is the unknown. Now, at the moment, mass is divided by 18. I don't want to know what mass divided by 18 is. I want to know what just mass is. So we need to remove the 18. Now, if I want to remove 18, the best thing I can do with it is multiply it by itself. So multiply it by 18. It's like if I give you a pizza and the pizza is divided into 12 slices. You don't just want one slice. I give you one slice and you go, I don't want one slice. I want the full pizza. What do you have to do to the one slice to make it a full pizza? You have to have 12 of them. You have to multiply your slice by 12. If you cut the original pizza into 12 pieces, then if I give you one piece, you need 12 of them to make back the full pizza. So you multiply it by 12. You multiply it by itself. So that's what I'm doing here, multiplying it by 18. But because this is an equal sign, you must also multiply the other side by 18. So I am not allowed to just multiply one side by 18 because then that does not make it equal anymore. Now, when you multiply 18 by itself, they can cancel each other out. You're just multiplying the pizza divided by 12 and you're getting pizza. Well, now you're multiplying mass divided by 18, you're just getting mass. So in other words, you cancel out the 18s. And now we have a sum. Now we have 18 times 3 equals mass. We now have a sum that we can do. Get our calculator out. Okay, so I'm going to do 18 multiplied by 3. That gives me mass is equal to 18 multiplied by 3 is equal to 54. Now I need to know my units because my units I'm measuring mass. My unit is going to be mass equals 54 and it's grams because it's a mass. Okay, and it really is that simple. It's the same, it's very much the same as what we did the last day. All right, let's look at another example. Okay, so say I said, what is the mass of 14 moles of CO2, carbon dioxide? What is the mass of 14 moles of CO2? All right, let's pause the video and you get cracking on that now, please. Okay, so you should only be playing the video if you have paused the video and you have done the question. You should begin by writing DESCU. Now, if you're really not gonna use that method, guys, you're gonna have a lot higher chance of going wrong. You really need to use this method until you're so comfortable with this that you just know how to do it without the method. But that is not going to be today, and it's not going to be tomorrow. You really need to do this until you really get the hang of it. Right, the next thing to do then is, like I did, I showed you in the question, I'm going to highlight. So I said, what is the mass? So mass is my unknown. M equals question mark. Mass equals question mark of, well, I have 14 moles. So moles equals 14. And MO is CO2. So that's going to be a 12 plus 16 plus 16. Add them up. You're going to get 44. So on my D line, I know that mass equals question mark. I know that moles equals 14. And I know that MO of CO2 equals 44. Next line, equation, moles equals mass divided by MO, same as always. Substitute, so I'm going to put in moles, which is 14, put it in over there, and MO, which is 44, put it in there. So rewrite out my equation with the numbers in. It's going to be 14 instead of moles equals mass divided by 44. Now notice I'm not skipping any steps. I'm doing it in the same way every time. And if you do that, then you will learn how to do this right. If you don't, if you try and skip steps, it's going to be hard. Okay, so now I want just mass. So at the moment, mass is divided by 44. So to make a full mass again, I need to multiply it by 44. So when I do that, those cancel. Now I'm not allowed to just multiply one side by 44 because that's equal sign. So I also need to multiply the other side by 44. When I rewrite out my sum there, that gives me this sum, 44 times 14 equals to the mass. Next line, I'm going to get my calculator out now. When I get my calculator, I get mass equals 616 equals the mass. So when I did 44 times 14, I got 616. What are my units? Well, I am finding mass. So my unit is 616 grams is equal to the mass. Okay, hopefully that's what you got. If you got this here, well done, tick it. Excellent. If you didn't, really look at the steps that I did and find out where exactly you went wrong. Okay, so if you've done that, if you've corrected it and you've figured out either mistake or you got it right the first time, you're ready to do some practice. So here is a practice set of questions for you. So you have to find the mass of each of these. So pause the video, do the questions now, please. Okay, and the answers are coming up now. I don't think there's anything too much that would catch it out. Again, it's the same thing. You just have to put in the values. Here are the answers. So pause the video and make your corrections. If you didn't get any of these answers, then you need to take a really, really good look over what you've done, each step. Make sure you haven't missed any steps. And go back and watch my examples again if you need to. All right, so that's the basics. You now know how to use the mole equation to work out how many moles you have if I give you a mass of a substance. And you also know how to use it to work out how much mass you have if I give you a certain amount of moles of a substance. That's what we've done these 5 questions today. We're now ready to start mixing questions together from all the first 3 videos. So finding MO, formula mass, finding the number of atoms, find the number of electrons using Avogadro's number, using the mole equation to find the number of moles and to find the number of mass. We're ready to start mixing these question sets together now. So here is a question set for you. Okay, I'm going to get you to, if you're confident with these, I'm going to get you to pause the video and go ahead and start doing them. Pause the video, start doing them now. Okay, so you should only be listening if you've had a go at these questions. Hopefully you're able to get them started. If you're really not sure, there are some things that could trip you up. For example, in the first question, this here is giving you the formula of the substance and you have the mass of the substance. Now, this is a tough formula. There's a lot going on here, but hopefully you know that this is 2 potassiums, 2 by K, 2 chromiums, 2 by chromium, and 7 by oxygen. So it's quite a big formula mass, but you should still be able to do that, I think. How many moles are in? And you've been given the mass. Okay. The next one, what is the mass of 4 moles of a substance? So that's like what we did today, 4 moles of the substance, and you've got the MO is 84. What is the mass of 0.8 moles of a substance? They're just like, these two are just like what we did today, 2 and 3 today. How many moles? This is like what we did in the last video. You've got the mass and you've got the formula, so you can work out the MO. Now this one, I suppose, it's been a while since we've seen this one, so just be careful with this one. How many atoms are there in 2 moles of HBr? So HBr looks like this, H bonded to a Br. So each of these particles has 1 H and 1 Br. And you have 2 moles of them. So find out how many molecules do you have if you've got 2 moles. And each molecule has 1 hydrogen. So every molecule has 1 hydrogen. So you just need to find out how many you have in 2 moles. Okay, so if you weren't sure how to do that, you might have a better idea how to do it now. So pause the video and try again. All right, here are the answers. Let's go through them. There is no number 6 here. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to clear that number 6. All right, those are the answers. Well done. If you got them right, do tick them. So you're, again, acknowledging that you got them right. If you didn't get them right, if you got that one wrong, then don't just leave it marked X. Go find out why you got it wrong. You need to redo it. You can't just leave it as a mistake and not figure out why. You need to go back and check why you have it wrong. Okay, so if you have to rewind the video back, go back to the last video and see how I did one of them, and you need to do it. The last one is the only one I could see possibly going wrong. Actually, I think I have that answer wrong. I think that is actually to the power of 24. Just, yeah, pretty sure I have that right. So that should be 1.204 by 10 to the power of 24. So this here is just a way of writing 10 to the power of 24. It's because it's very hard to get OneNote to display it properly. What this should really look like is, I suppose I could draw it in for you. So this is how you would write it, 10 to the power, and then we've got the subscript. Oops. Subscript 23 up here. Okay, so by 10 to the power of 23. Now, where did this number come from? Oh, and again, I have it wrong. It's not 23. It should be 24. Sorry, 24. 1.204 by 10 to the 24. Where did this come from? Well, I have 2 moles of the molecules. 2 moles. So if I had 1 mole, I would have Avogadro's number, 6.02 by 10 to the 23. But I have 2 moles, so I've got to make 2 of those. That gives me this number here, 1.204 by 10 to the 24. And I know that every single one of them has 1 hydrogen atom. So how many hydrogen atoms do I have? I have the same number of them. Now, if it was H2Br, and I had this many molecules, or this many molecules, sorry. If I had this many molecules, and there was H2Br, well, then that would mean I have 2 atoms of hydrogen for every 1 molecule. So then I'd have to take this number, 1.204 by 10 to the 24, and multiply it by 2, or multiply it by 3 if I had H3Br, and so on. But because I don't have H3Br, every 1 molecule has 1 atom of hydrogen, HBr. It's just the same as the number of molecules. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Another practice set, which has, again, loads of mixed questions. One more set. All right. First question asks you to draw a simple molecule of oxygen gas, and it's O2. So there's important information there. It's O2. So what will it look like? So draw just simple 2 atoms of oxygen, and they're in a molecule. So you have to show how they're connected. And then the rest, I think, should be pretty manageable for you guys. Okay, so pause the video, have a go at those. Okay, so you should only be playing. Again, if you're not going to do the questions, then you're wasting your time. You should only be playing if you have tried all the questions 1 to 6. And here they come. Here come the answers. Again, if you've done these really well done, you are getting up to the standard that you would need to be at in the Leaving Cert exam. So well done. That's where we want to be. Okay. And let's have a look at the answers. Here's number 1. Here is a molecule of O2. Technically, that's actually not perfectly correct. It should be O with 2 lines in between. But that doesn't really matter for this purpose. It's just 2 atoms of oxygen joined together. Okay, so I know some of you will have done bonding before. Some of you will not have done bonding before. And you would know that there is not technically correct, because we should have a double bond between the 2 O's. I'm not going into why that is now. If you are interested in finding out why, then you need to go and watch the bonding videos. You should watch them at some point anyway, but for today, it's not important. Just know that O2 is made of 2 oxygen atoms. Okay, how many moles are there in 200 grams of oxygen gas? Okay, so here, what do I know? I know the mass is equal to 200 grams. Mass equals 200 grams. I want to know how many moles. Don't know, so the question, how many? So moles equals question mark. And I know that it's oxygen gas. So what does that mean? Well, that means it's O2. So I can find the formula mass of O2, MO equals, and it's MO of O2 equals 16 plus 16 equals 32. Now, if that tripped you up, that you were talking about the MO of oxygen gas, that should be a 32, not a 12, 32. And then you can pause the video and go and finish the calculation using that information. All right, what about the next one? I'll show you the answer to that in a second. I don't want to just go over to the answers yet. How many electrons are there in 200 grams of oxygen gas? Well, you just worked out how many moles you had. So using your answer from number 2, you know you have however many moles, then you can work out how many atoms you have of oxygen, or how many molecules you have of oxygen, and then work out the number of electrons from there. I know that's a little bit more complicated, so maybe I'll step you through that one. Let's have a look. Here are the answers. 6.25 moles was the amount of moles in 200 grams. So well done if you got that right. You have to have that bit right to get the next bit right. Okay, so we've got 6.25 moles. 6.25 moles, okay, of oxygen gas. How many molecules is that? Well, every molecule, or every mole, 1 mole of molecules is 6.02 by 10 to the 23. Avogadro's number, remember? But we have 6.25 moles, so how many molecules is that? So I'm going to take my 6.02 by 10 to the power of 23 and multiply it by how many moles I have. So when I do that, I get, on my calculator, where am I? Okay, I'm going to get 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23, and multiply it by the number of moles, 6.25 moles. That would give me 3.7625 by 10 to the 24 molecules. So it's a 3.7625 by 10 to the 24 molecules of oxygen gas. Now remember, a molecule is 2 atoms of oxygen, O and O, O bonded to O. You drew it up here in question 1. So how many electrons is in that molecule? So what you need to do is figure out how many electrons are in an atom of oxygen, and then remember there's 2 atoms of oxygen in a molecule. So you will figure out, hopefully you have figured out, pause the video if you haven't worked that out, do that, how many atoms are in a molecule of O2, sorry, how many electrons are in a molecule of O2. Okay, so hopefully you figured out that a molecule of O2, 1 molecule, has 16 electrons, 8 for each atom of oxygen, 16 electrons. So you've got to take this many molecules and multiply by 16 to get the number of electrons. So this is quite a lot going on here, quite difficult. So well done if you manage to do this. And you're going to get 6.02. What's going on here now? What have I done? Got a different answer this time. Let me just double check all of this. 6.25 by 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23. Yeah, equals times by 16. Okay, answer now. The answer I'm getting now, twice in a row, is number 3, 6.02 times 10 to the power of 25. That's the answer I'm getting now. So you should hopefully be getting the same. I don't know why I got a different answer the last time. Maybe I put it in the calculator wrong. Can happen. Pretty sure about this one now. 6.02 by 10 to the power of 25 electrons. So well done, if you got that right. Good job. How many electrons would there be in 150 grams of oxygen gas? So now the amount of oxygen is less. So have a go at that one. Work that one out. Hopefully you managed to work it out. Okay, you should have got 4.515 by 10 to the power of 25. Okay, so 4.515 by 10 to the power of 25. All right, well done. If you got that correct, good job. Next one, ozone has 3 atoms of oxygen, all chemically bonded. What is its MO? So its formula will be O3. So 3 oxygens, 16 plus 16 plus 16, 48. Well done. You said 48. The correct answer. And what about if you had 10 moles of O3, what would the mass be? So again, my mass equals question mark. Mass is the question mark. I know my moles is equal to 10. I know my MO, I worked it out up here. MO equals to 48. So now I can use DeskQ, find the mass. All right, hopefully you've done that. You should only be watching if you're ready to see the answer. And the answer is 480 grams. All right, well done, guys. If you've got them correct today, you've done a really good job. And you have got to a very good standard with these types of questions. They come up all the time in Leaving Cert Chemistry, and are also important for some future ideas that are coming down the road. Quantitative chemistry, we're going to build on these ideas. So if you don't have them solidly in your mind now, it's really important that you do get the hang of them before you move on. Okay. Hope you found the video useful, guys. If you found the calculations okay and easy enough to follow, and you've got them, you're happy with how you did on them, do leave a like, because this is something that a lot of students struggle with, and a lot of teachers even struggle to know exactly how to teach it properly to students, because it's not an easy thing to teach. And every year, lots and lots of students don't know how to do this. So if you found this a good way of learning it, and you think that the amount of practice that you got and the explanations help you to remember, then do leave a like. Leave a comment, explain to people why they should stop and watch it. It would help the channel, and it would help other people to learn from it. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.